It's all you.
All right. My name is Collin, and this is my senior seminar project. My senior seminar project is actually a studio producer. It's basically a producer who makes anybody that can play an instrument or have a band sound the best they can possibly can by either adjusting volumes for certain instruments or just evening it out, like just their sound to make sure everything sounds even and good. That also includes like podcasts and just anything recording wise, because some podcasts people tend to scream, so they have to adjust their volumes for that kind of stuff. And it's honestly a pretty fun career in my opinion. Famous studio producers include Brian Eno. He produced the Talking Heads' Once in a Lifetime album, one of their breakout albums, Viva La Vida by Coldplay, and basically all the U2 albums are a famous 80s new wave band. Rick Rubin is probably the most famous studio producer that anybody knows from like a specific genres. Albums like Raining Blood by Slayer, Beastie Boys' License to Ill, their debut album, Red Hot Chili Peppers albums, and just recently The Strokes' New Abnormal. So he's basically been producing albums every year since the 1980s almost. And Jeff Lynne, he's a good example of someone who plays in a band and produces the albums for that band. So he actually is the lead singer / guitarist for the Electrical Light Orchestra band, and they made songs like Evil Woman and Mr. Blue Sky, their most famous songs. And he basically is a good example of how to play your instrument and know how to produce albums, and he does that still to this day. My journey started, I wasn't confident at first. I had to relearn everything, mostly because I kind of knew a little bit when I was doing my band with Cybers Till Sundown, and we would actually have to record a song for like Party in the Park, because they actually aren't gonna just let a band play downtown. They actually need to hear what you can do. So we had to record a song for that specifically, and we also had to just mess around and see what we could create for that. The hardest part was actually figuring out what to play and getting time where no one's around to play and experiment. So basically, I had trouble trying to find time to play, and that was not that it wasn't that hard of a challenge, but it was annoying because I would start to do something and then out of nowhere somebody would walk in and just start talking to me while I was playing, and I'd have to basically stop what I'm doing, put stuff away, and wait till they leave, and then bring stuff back out. And then that's just basically the main thing. And I've learned that GarageBand and Audacity are very nice, but they're good for just specific things. If you want to record something for like a whole band, Audacity is your best friend for that, because you can actually like mess with the volumes and stuff. If you have multiple mics and stuff like that, and like multiple people to play instruments, you could easily use Audacity for that. And then GarageBand's good, mostly because if you're a single like person like I am that has to record and redo stuff, GarageBand is your best friend for that, because you can actually mess with tones and get your own guitar pedals and like distortion and cool stuff like that on your GarageBand kind of thing. Problems I faced was figuring out chords. So I actually have a few chords right here that I'll show you. So basically, this chord here actually plugs into this machine. It is a 2000 power mixer, and basically I had to, first of all, you had to actually plug it in. So basically you just plug it in right here and then plug it into an outlet. And that was the hard part, obviously. The actual hard part was trying to figure out how many of chords I needed, because these are actually mic chords, and you can actually tell the difference by the ends of it, because this one actually plugs into the front of the mixer, and this is also a mixer. basically where you want to plug it in at is actually right here. And then once you get that going, then you want to grab your actual mic. And I actually have mics here. Right here, and then you want to plug it into the end like this, and that's how you get a mic going. And then obviously you turn it on and plug it into some speakers, and then do sound checks, and just try to figure out from there. And then the next thing I faced was how many mics I needed. So these are specifically drum mics, and I have another good example. These are vocal mics. The difference with these are a lot smaller and these are a lot bigger, but these actually go towards your drum set to make it not like sound loud and like very annoying kinda. And this one is vocal mics. These have bass. These actually have I can pull this off here. These actually have stuff on the inside to let you there's usually foam on the inside to make sure it's not like bassy or loud, which is nice. And there's different kinds of this mic, but this one actually has a switch on it. The other ones don't, and those are the nicer ones. But yeah, and I had to figure out how many of those I needed, specifically the drum mics, because I was just using the vocal mic because at one point I forgot I actually had drum mics, and then they just didn't sound the best. So then I found the drum mics, switched them out for those mics, and actually figured out that it sounded a lot more clear and a lot more professional sounding. Another one was obviously time to record. I explained that a little bit ago. Yet again, I had to find time, especially with work and school, and just I think I did a good job trying to manage my time for the most part. I recorded I think 4 things in that time. Playing bass before drums. That basically means when I first started, I was just playing the bass guitar, and every time I would try to record the drums over the bass guitar, it wouldn't sound the best because it would sound so out of beat and so out of tune or out of tempo that I basically had to flip it, which I realized was an obvious mistake in hindsight. But it was just mostly experimenting and trying it to see if it would work. And I switched it, and now it sounds so much better and so much more in tune, kinda. And then how to play without repeating sounds in the background. Basically, I had this issue when I was recording drums because after I would finish the drums and start the bass, when I record the bass track by itself, it would be basically repeat. It would basically repeat in the background, and it would just echo through the song. And it was very annoying to figure out. But the best thing I could really do was turn the volume down on the drums to the point where I could just barely hear it, and then play the bass with the drums in the background and just kind of even it out. And that worked a lot better, it seemed. And yeah, those are the main problems I faced for that. Creativity, I had to actually figure out what to play. I was spending basically an hour a day trying to mess around on the bass and just kind of figure out what would sound good, what wouldn't sound good. Because I already knew what I was going to play for the drums. It was just trying to figure out what to play on the bass, because there's so much to the bass you can play that you kind of have to get down to something simple. And then another thing was opening my mind and getting inspired. So I had to listen to a lot of music and kind of listen to the instruments and hear what the different sounds were and figure out what I could do to make it similar but not exactly similar. I had to basically kind of create my own. It's not like plagiarizing. It's almost like it's not plagiarizing. It's just basically trying to take something and create it as your own, with the same kind of sound to it. And that was basically what I did for creativity. Critical thinking, trying to use the most of something but not use more than I need to, but making it effective. So yet again with the mics, I was trying to figure out how much I could use to make it not so cramped up, and also try to use so much little space as I could. And I thought I did a good job at that, because at the end, near the end, I started grabbing all my drums, and I had basically a whole like area just filled of just instruments, and it worked well. It just got very crammed and was kind of get hard to get around. But for the most part, I at the beginning I thought I did a pretty good job at trying to figure out how not to use a lot of chords. I only used like I think three chords, not include three chords in total. One for my bass guitar and two for the mics. And I thought that was pretty good. And then I also had enough room to set my instruments in a spot where it won't be in the way and not have to worry about it. And that's what I did for critical thinking. Communication. For communication, I used Mr. McBride and Clay Hallberg for the most part. They were basically my mentors through this entire thing. Specifically Hallberg, because he showed me a lot, and same with McBride. Hallberg told me a lot about equipment, and actually has a studio right across the street from the old from the hospital. And then McBride, we actually recorded a jazz band song, and he posted it on his Facebook, and I kind of just went off of that as well, learning just from watching, and kind of asking questions too. And then for interview questions, I basically asked them questions like, what's your favorite part about music, studio productions, and kind of just like general questions about it. McBride, for his favorite part, he likes working with the equipment and being hands-on with it. Hallberg says he loves taking an idea and going with it. Basically, you're gonna have issues trying to fight with your mood, and he's basically told me to just go with an idea and don't back down from it, unless if it's not kind of working, you can kind of alter it, kind of thing. And another thing that I asked them was the least favorite part. McBride basically said physical work, because you're going to be moving stuff around a lot. It seems with like having multiple stuff in a place, it's just it'll get a mess, and trying to redo everything, and trying to move around stuff basically. And Hallberg yet again said you're gonna be messing with your mood a lot, and just trying to go through an idea without having to feel like you're messing up, kind of thing. But yeah, and then collaboration. I was gonna work with Miss Feeling halfway through the semester, but I kind of backed down from it, because I was thinking that I wasn't gonna have enough equipment. Plus, with the time frame and trying to figure out why my cord wasn't working with my mixer system, I was basically at that point kind of just kind of had to back out from it. And plus, I wasn't gonna have enough equipment for a full choir class per se. So I just decided respectfully to back out from it, and she understood. And then Mr. McBride, yet again, I would go to the band room every day, just either to kind of play on my instrument, or just talk to him about stuff like music, stuff like studio production, and looking at his equipment that he uses. And then for Clay Hallberg, the only thing I really did with him was go to a studio or message him on Facebook every time I have a question for him. Like, if there's certain equipment that I think would be good, or if it will be bad, I can just ask him. Plus, if I need any tips, I have both of them to help me out. And McBride also said he also has people that also do this kind of stuff. He knows people, so if I need like a contact, he could help me out with that. Flexibility and adaptability. For flexibility, meeting with everybody on a time frame, or not on a time frame, but making time for